What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your favorite medical school dropout here, back at it again to drop What If Naruto Ate the Ope Ope no Mi? Now, I know I haven't dropped another episode for this series in a long time, but I'm telling you, I am back with a vengeance, and I am going to be dropping this series as it rightfully should have been done. As of recent, I've actually started watching One Piece, and I've grown to love this incredible series. Before, I did this while mainly just watching an Operator Fruit video and how it works, also just looking at laws, attacks, and abilities video, and I figured that would be enough to gain a lot of views. However, I didn't go about this the right way, and so I am here to reprimand those past mistakes, because in the past community tab, you guys ended up voting for it, so I am here to deliver. And with that being said, I hope you guys go on to enjoy the video.
Hey Ross, sauce it up.
Okay, so we pick up our story right where I had left off. Now, Kakashi and Zabuza had just now started their fight, and I'm not really going to be covering this just because of the sheer fact that this battle pretty much remains constant. In the Narutoverse, Naruto pretty much ends up watching as Kakashi and Zabuza go at it. Now, as Naruto watches his sensei Kakashi battle it out with Zabuza, he would end up noticing that his sensei Kakashi is definitely no slack. Kakashi definitely wields a lot of power, and Naruto would gain a certain amount of respect for his sensei due to the fact that he can see that Kakashi is definitely no pushover. Now, during the fight, obviously Kakashi would let his guard down, and in this version of events, Zabuza would end up threatening the kids, causing Kakashi to drop his guard and Kakashi to be caught in a water prism jutsu. Now, when this does happen, Naruto would look towards Sasuke's direction as he would say, "Hey, let him go!" You know, he would come running in with a kunai, flipping it in his hands, and essentially running towards Zabuza's direction. But Zabuza would wield a hand sign as he would create a bunch of shadow clones, and immediately one of them would rush in at Sasuke's direction as he would hold his blade to Sasuke's neck. Sasuke would have a drop of sweat land on the blade, and then Zabuza would cut, as out of nowhere, you would just hear Naruto from a distance say, "Room," as immediately he would say, "Shambles," as the clone would pretty much be cut in half, and what the clone actually ended up cutting was literally a melon. A literal melon, bro. Where did he pull the melon from? Where did he get this melon? But yeah, he got a melon. And okay, I need to stop stressing the fact that it's a melon. Comment hashtag melon down below if you guys have made it this far and you want a part 3. I'm gonna need at least 100 hashtag melons, or you guys will never get a part 3. I promise. Like, I promise right now. That melon is my favorite melon in the world. Like, oh my god, bro, that melon is everything. Hashtag melon in the comments. Anyways, though, so Sasuke would pretty much be swapped places with Zabuza, and from here, Naruto would say, "Shadow clones, eh? Interesting." He would then proceed to say, "No more of that." He would then look at Sasuke as he would say, "Sasuke, stay out of my way. This is something that I have to do alone." As he would say, "As things stand now, you would only get in my way." Sasuke would immediately grit his teeth and say, "Ugh," as, you know, that natural anime sound that we all are very used to hearing. He would do that type of thing, and from here, Naruto, in a flashy manner, would pretty much proceed to just look towards what's called Zabuza, as he would then think, "All right, how about we get started the proper way?" As from here, he would then go on to essentially like rush straight at Zabuza's direction. No room active, by the way, because he wants to give himself a challenge. And when he does this, Naruto would end up pretty much running atop the water. As Zabuza's like, "A genin that can water walk already?" As, you know, Naruto would begin pretty much running on top of the water, and he would rush in at Zabuza's direction. Zabuza would create a couple of clones, but Naruto would take out his katana, and he would then proceed to pretty much obliterate these clones instantly, not even using his abilities of the Operator Fruit. Now, at this point, what I believe would happen is Naruto would pretty much start like breaking his way towards Zabuza, inching closer and closer. as Zabuza would come to realize he's not going to be able to keep Kakashi trapped up in this water prison. So he would immediately let go and he would throw, he would pretty much jump back as he would throw kunai at Naruto's direction, and Kakashi would fall onto the water saying, "I thought I was a goner." As from here, we would see Naruto appear as he swings his sword, and Zabuza would pretty much end up matching his strength. As from here, Zabuza would say, "You got heart, kid." Both of their blades would begin crashing as Naruto would say, "Yeah, I do." As immediately, Kakashi would then say, "To trap me in a genjutsu." I mean, no, not to trap me in a genjutsu, but to trap me in a water prison jutsu and then threaten my student's life in front of me. You truly do have a death wish. He would lift his headband and say things are going to be different this time. As from this point forward, Zabuza would see as he's now going to have to face against a kid who is pretty comparable when it comes to Kenjutsu, and Kakashi, the copycat ninja. Now, from afar, obviously Haku is watching, and when Haku sees that Zabuza's about to have to fight against these two monsters, Haku would immediately come in and throw Senbon at Naruto's direction. Naruto would not see this coming, and a lot of Senbon would actually hit Naruto right on his leg, causing Naruto to fall down on one knee, and Haku would appear right beside Zabuza, as Zabuza would say, "I don't remember asking for your help, Haku." From here, Haku would say, "I know, but I figured I might as well be of some assistance today." As from here, Zabuza would say, "Glad you showed up. Now kill these bastards." As from here, Haku would then proceed to take out a bunch of Senbon before Naruto could then pretty much monologue inside of his head and say, "Alright, so my leg has this, and this injury. How do I go about this? How much do I have like strength in my leg wise?" He would use his analytical doctor mind, and seeing as I'm not a doctor, I can't exactly tell you what terminology all of these injuries are. So let's just say Naruto, clever thing, he says something cool, and then he proceeds to essentially get on one knee, as he would then proceed to say, "Room." Now, immediately, Haku's Senbon that were thrown right at Kakashi's direction would come flying back at Zabuza's direction, as he would then say, "Shambles," as immediately, Haku and Zabuza would pretty much start flying around in the room, as Naruto would hold onto Zabuza's head right in his hand, throwing it up into the air over and over and over, as he would then say, quite an interesting ability I have, right?" Zabuza would be like, "What in the," as he would notice he's just ahead, and there it would be, the majestic melon. Anyways, though, no, totally kidding. But Haku Haku would pretty much just be standing there as, he's just sitting there like, "Oh, okay, like what do I do? Like I just got cut in half and I'm still alive." And so Haku would then say, "Crystal ice mirrors!" As he would slam his fist at the ground, a bunch of gigantic mirrors would appear in the room, as Naruto would say, "That's kind of cute." And from here, the entire mirrors would pretty much begin to melt right in front of Haku's eyes, or become into little tiny shards that they pretty much look like little itty bits of snow, because Naruto would have thrusted his katana over and over, pretty much causing all of the ice to be shattered into tiny little pieces. And from here, Naruto would then look at Haku and Zabuza as he would say, "Kakashi, finish them off." Kakashi would then say, "Right," creating two twin dragon jutsus. As from here, the water dragons would pretty much come in, and Naruto would let Zabuza and Haku be hit by the attack, as both Haku and Zabuza would both be taken out immediately. Now, it's at this point that Naruto would then proceed to be like, "That was interesting." As from here, Naruto would proceed to essentially turn off his ability, as Zabuza and Haku's body would be put back together by choice, remember, and Naruto would then proceed to just walk over towards them, as both Haku and Zabuza were both taken out immediately. Now, that was a pretty good battle, if I do say so myself, but at this point, they would essentially tie them up and question them as to who it is that is behind all of this. Zabuza would say that the man's name was Gato, and that he put him up for hire to kill that man over there, to stop him from building the bridge. Kakashi would then be like, "Bro, you literally put us on a literal B rank to A rank mission. You better be ready for what's to come." He would look at Naruto and then the rest of his team and think, do they really have what it takes to keep continuing this mission? Thinking to himself, that must have been the worst of it. What could be the harm? He was able to defeat Haku and Zabuza Momoichi. There's no way that anybody could get in our way. From here, they would all end up making their way towards Tazuna's house, with Kakashi being carried by Sasuke, and from here, they would end up pretty much arriving at the house, where they would finally have a well-cooked meal by Tazuna's daughter, Tsunami. Now, Tsunami would say, I'm so happy to have everyone here, saying that, she's excited, they never have guests, and Inari would come in through the door, peeking in, saying, "What are you ninjas even doing here? You guys are just gonna get killed by Gato. Nobody stands a chance against Gato. He's the scariest. You guys will just come here to get killed, and you'll be forgotten, just like everybody else." So from here, Naruto would continue eating. His personality is different, so there's not going to be a moment where he says, "Why you little brat?" None of that stuff. Instead, he stays silent and goes to eat outside. And he pretty much remains outside for hours and hours and hours, and essentially mentally training with image training inside of his mind. When out of nowhere, he hears the door open, and suddenly Sasuke standing behind him, leaning against the wall, arms crossed, and he would say, "So, Naruto, what exactly was that back there? Ever since your days in the academy, you've always had these strange abilities. You never seemed to show them off too much, but when you did, it was incredible. It was as if you could play God in a certain area. I want to know, what is that?" Naruto would then look at Sasuke's direction and say, "I'm going to be on a team with you for years, so I guess I might as well tell you." He would then look at Sasuke with both of his eyes closed. If that makes no sense. He would pretty much be looking down with both of his eyes closed, but like metaphorically looking at Sasuke, I guess you could say. As he would then say, "My power comes from a devil fruit." Sasuke would say, "What's that?" Naruto would say, "It's from another worldly type of power. Consider it something similar to that of a Kekkei Genkai. However, something that only one person can have at a time." And from here, Sasuke would say, "Interesting." Naruto would then go on to explain the properties of the operator fruit, explaining that it pretty much allows him a surgical room, or a room that he has full control over. He would also explain that if he was to want to, he could perform a surgery that could make somebody live forever, and all he would have to do is sacrifice his life. Sasuke would just be in utter shock, thinking, "Incredible." And from here, Naruto would say, "Is that all you wanted to know?" Then Sasuke would say, "How are you so strong? I get you have this power, but even without it, you seem to be leagues and bounds ahead of me. What's the secret?" Naruto would say, "Oh, that? Well, I'm a doctor. I study the human body, so I know exactly where its weak points are. And using this sword over here, I can pretty much use my ability of the operator fruit in tandem with my Kenjutsu abilities. And it truly does create a wonderful spectacle in battle." Sasuke would look at Naruto and think, "You have some point there." As from here, he would then proceed to essentially look at Naruto and then walk inside, saying, "How about you help me get stronger?" And from here, Naruto would look at Sasuke's direction as he would say, "I'm not totally opposed to that idea, but I also can't leave our other teammate behind." As he would say, "Sakura, you can come out now." As Sakura would have pretty much been like, "I was hiding perfectly," you know what I mean? Like her inner monologue would be like, "Cha! I was like, I couldn't have been seen," you know what I mean? But Naruto would be like, "Yeah, you're not hiding from anybody over there." As from here, Sakura would come on out. Sorry for, hitting my mic right now, but my bad. Anyways, though, so Sakura would come out and she would then proceed to be like, "Well, are you gonna train me from what I heard?" Naruto would say, "I'm not just gonna train you. I'm gonna train you so hard you'll wish you were dead." As from here, we would have like a scene where everything just goes to black, and then suddenly Kakashi would wake up about 1 week later after having used Sharingan. Way less time than in the original because of the fact that he only used one attack and had the Sharingan active for less time. However, it still ended up taking a huge toll on his body, and the Sharingan is not something that Kakashi can use lightly at this point. That being said, when he wakes up, he would go over towards the team and begin trying to teach them, tree walking and water walking, but Naruto would smirk as he says, "I already covered that." Both of them would end up walking up the tree perfectly, and Kakashi would smile, thinking, "This is some team." He would think that if only his team was like this, then maybe that event would have never happened, as he would have a flashback to when Obito and Rin both died, thinking if only he had worked with actual teamwork, maybe both of them would still be alive. a smile would come on his face, as from here, about 3 days would go by worth of Kakashi training them in taijutsu and teaching them some jutsus, mainly Sakura, with Kakashi essentially being the one who oversees Naruto training Sasuke, who is actually learning Kenjutsu at this moment. And Sasuke ended up buying a blade from a random shop nearby just for him to try to learn his own style. One thing that Sasuke ended up finding out was that he loves using a sword with an underhanded grip, which doesn't really add any advantages when it comes to fighting. He just thinks it looks cool. So Sasuke fights that way. Naruto questions it, but he's like, you know what? It's his life. He can fight however he wants. And from here, what would end up happening is the day where they would end up returning to the bridge would come. And eventually, Gato would arrive. Many of you guys are probably like, yo, what about Haku and Zabuza? But they never returned. They were pretty much just captured, and just because they were captured, that doesn't mean that they were going to be just killed out of nowhere, you know what I mean? Like, they were captured, and that was the end of it. They were pretty much ended up taken to a place for their bounties, I guess you could say, by Kakashi later on, and he ended up splitting that reward with Naruto, seeing as Naruto played a big part in that. So Naruto had a little bit of extra money to spare, and they ended up essentially giving Gato over to the people of the village hidden in the waves. But after this, the bridge was finally created, and it would still be named the Great Naruto Bridge. After these events would unfold, they would all end up sharing one last meal at Tsunami's house or Tazuna's house, and they would all be on their merry way. Now, as soon as all of them are pretty much on their way back to the village, this is where Naruto would end up essentially talking to Sasuke, saying that he's definitely made quite a huge improvement. From what he was when they first started this mission, he is leagues and bounds ahead of what he would have expected. That swordsmanship that Naruto's been teaching him, he's definitely a natural swordsman. Naruto would explain to Sasuke that even he had some problems when he first started, but it's as if sword was just another part of Sasuke's body. Like it was just another extendable limb. It was insane to Naruto to see somebody progressing so quickly. And Naruto was pretty much just being shown how powerful Sasuke was day after day. Now, after this would all happen, what I would picture happening is all of them returning to the village and then pretty much just walking across the village. Kakashi would tell the team that they can pretty much do whatever they want. Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto would end up walking through the village. They would turn a corner when suddenly they would end up noticing a young boy being held up by a boy with a black... Okay, I'm just gonna stop acting as if you guys don't know who this is. It's Kankuro, okay? Kankuro has Konohamaru by the throat. Ayo, paused. But yeah, he has him by the throat, and then he would proceed to essentially lift him up, saying, "You got some kind of death wish, kid?" As from here, Naruto would just kind of look at the direction of... Sorry, what's it called? Naruto would look at the direction of Konohamaru and see that look of like help me in his eyes. And from here, Naruto would say, "Got a soft spot for kids like you." From here, Naruto would say, "Room," as he would immediately say, "Shambles," as immediately a melon would appear in Kankuro's arms. I'm totally kidding, it's just a random block of wood. But Konohamaru would appear right next to Naruto, and he would say, "You know, if I didn't know any better, I'd think you were picking on a little kid that had nothing to do with anything here. Now why don't you get on out of here before this gets ugly?" Kankuro would be like, "You got some kind of death wish?" As he would then proceed to take out his puppet and say, "Go!" As immediately the puppet would rush at Naruto's direction, and as if on cue, all of the blades would pierce right into Naruto. Now Naruto's body would pretty much begin to expel a red liquid, and it's at this point that Kankuro would say, "I killed him." But he would then feel something across his back. It would be the breath of Naruto saying, "You missed me." Immediately, the thing that he ended up poking ended up turning into literal just mud, and it would disintegrate onto the ground. As Kankuro would be like, "You, what? I just stabbed you. How could you have possibly survived?" You know what I mean? He was just shocked. Like, he would have never thought that Naruto would have had the ability to even survive anything near that crazy. So he was just like, whoa, what's going on? But from here, Naruto would look at Kankuro and say, "You view the world as in one little square, but I control it." As from here, he would say, "Room," and the whole entire thing would go away as he just looks at Konohamaru and he walks off. He would also give one last look at, sorry, I thought that there was like a dog like smashing at my gate trying to get into my house for some reason. Like I heard like a big dog just go boom like onto a gate or something. I don't know if you guys were able to hear it, but anyways though, what was I talking about? Oh yeah, Naruto would give like a I'll see you someday look to Gaara, and they would walk off as Gaara would think, blood, I need his blood, and immediately everything would fade to black. But hey, that's just a theory. A what if theory. Okay, I need to stop. That was cringe. Anyways though guys, that would mark the conclusion of what if Naruto had the operator fruit for today's video. If you guys want the next installment of this, make sure to smash the like goal of 500 likes and I will be dropping part 3. This series is probably only going to be having about 4 or 5 parts, so please do make sure to be considerate and help your boy out by dropping a like. Seeing as this video is probably not going to get that many views, seeing as it's a part 2, not only that, but it's a part excuse me, but it's also part 2 that hasn't been done in a minute, so it's probably going to get even worse views because of that. So please do yourself a favor, I mean me a favor, and drop that like, please, I'm begging you. Anyways though guys, that has been it for me today. I love each and every single one of you guys. It has been your boy Zether, and I am out. Peace.